me about love and wanna know about it, my answer would be it's everything about Allah, the pure love to our souls, the creator of you and me, the heavens and the whole universe, the one that made us whole and free, the guardian of his true believers. So when the time gets hard, there's no way to turn, as he promised he will always be there to bless us with his love and his mercy, 'cause as he promised he will always be there. He's always watching us, guiding us, and he knows what's deep in our hearts.
So, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to our latest in the series of Zoominars that Cornerstone Law Services is providing for Muslim families. We're providing legal and financial tools for Muslim families, and it's our way of making legal and financial tools understandable and accessible to all of you. We will be bringing in experts in many fields relative to our unique situations, and this will allow you an opportunity to learn from and ask questions from people who have extensive knowledge in areas that are important to you. And today, this morning, we are joined by Mr. Iftikhar Saifuddin, and he leads Apex Consultants, and he's a licensed professional, financial professional, and a passionate advocate of the importance of planning for the unexpected, which, you know, is a part of all our lives, and especially now with COVID and everything happening. And he has been a featured speaker at multiple events in schools, community organizations, mosques, and Chamber of Commerce events in Southern California. Mr. Iftikhar and his team focus on thought-provoking dialogue about the importance of financial planning for the family. And they use an all-encompassing approach, which provides a roadmap to navigate the choppy waters of our current economy while avoiding common pitfalls. And he will be speaking today about a very important topic on different strategies for retirement. And, you know, please, if you have any questions, please post it in the Q&A section below, or you can email us at info@cornerstonelawservices.com. And Brother Iftikhar, I'm sure, will be providing contact information for himself as well. And we'll respond with answers. And please check out our website at cornerstonelawservices.com to see what kind of services we offer. And if you are ever in need of them, you can contact us. And as usual, I would like to emphasize that the purpose of the webinars are for educational purposes and not intended to be legal advice. So please contact a legal professional to develop a proper plan that's right for your personal situation. And with that, I will leave it to Brother Iftikhar.
Thank you, Safora, for the introduction. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well with the craziness that's going on around us. You know, not just the COVID, now we have election coming up too, right? So it's fun times, everyone. So my name is Iftikhar Saifuddin. I'm part of Apex Consultants. We're a financial advisory firm in Southern California. We're actually well known here in the Muslim community. We have done events at the masjids, the local masjids. We have also done presentations at local schools, local colleges, Chamber of Commerce events, and also had a presentation with the Shura Council Board. We did with the Islamic Shura Council of Southern California, and they were actually so excited about it that now we have a formal partnership with them to exclusively promote these products at the masjid and the Islamic organizations. So we have sat with the local shuyukh, we have shown them the products I'm going to show you today, and they have all been excited about it and encouraged us to promote it. This is a very important topic that I'm going to cover today, but let me actually give you a quick overview. There are two areas that we go into. My slideshow going here. The first topic is what I covered last Sunday. So those of you who were there would probably remember this. It's called proper protection. It's about protecting your health, and that way you protect your wealth. And this is a very common issue in any community. the number one reason for bankruptcy in America is when you have high medical bills and time out of work because of medical illness. So the number one reason, if you Google it, in 2018, is like 535,000 people filed for bankruptcy just for this one reason alone. And there are actually products out there that can protect your wealth instead of draining them in case of a medical illness, and even for loss of life. If you pass away, your family can be protected as well. So there are actually really good products like that. I'm not going to go and redo that presentation today. I got something else to talk about, but if anyone's interested in knowing more about it, please reach out to me or Sephora or Hani, and then we can set something up where I can go over the presentation with you. So that's the area that I covered last Sunday, proper protection. Today is another important topic, and that's called asset accumulation. So asset accumulation basically means where how you grow your money towards a retirement. So obviously retirement is important. They usually say you plan for at least 20 years after you retire to when you will probably pass away, Allah Allah. So basically, we are living longer than we used to. You retire at 65, then typically people die around 85 now, and longer time. And as you get older, obviously the quality of life, it decreases. So you also want to make sure you plan for that as well. But medical technology has got so good right now that people live a lot longer. So you want to live an age with dignity, age gracefully, not become a burden on society, not become a burden on your children. So it'd be ideal if you can plan for retirement. And some of us do. I'm sure not saying some of us, a lot of us do. We have a plan. We have a 401k, for example, some kind of a pension, retirement plan. We have money in the bank, an IRA, a traditional IRA, Roth IRA, you name it. We have all that cool stuff. And still, when we get to that end there, it is less than what we have put in sometimes. And it happens a lot because of an event that happened during that time. So it's a long period of time, right? 40 years, 30 years, where the market's going up and down, and your money that is sitting on these accounts are fluctuating. So if you time it wrong, let's say, for example, you're 50 years old right now, and you can see retirement coming at you, right? You're 15 years away from retirement. Even somebody who's as old as 45, 48 years old, they can see, 20 years out, I'm going to be retiring. And that's the plan anyway, unless you want to work, as long as possible. But ideally, we want to have an age where I think, I'm going to stop working, spend more time traveling, whatever you want to do, write a book, right? Read poetry, stuff that I want to do, by the way. But anyway, my point is you want to have a plan, right, for retirement. So there are a couple of ways you can do this, and let me show you a couple of ways that people normally do it, and then also my solution as well. So asset accumulation. So one place you can put the money in is the bank. And this is very common in our community, simply because the bank, maybe not a money market or a CD because it has a fixed rate of return or savings, but they put it in a checking account. And mashallah, our community is very fortunate. We're very wealthy in some aspects. A lot of people are, and they do well, alhamdulillah. And they put the money in the bank, and it does not grow, right? That's how money works in the bank. It does not grow. But it's safe though. So the market can go crazy, can do breakdance, it can do whatever it wants to do. Nothing's going to happen to your money. But the one thing that is affecting it though is something called inflation. You guys have probably heard of inflation, right? The cost of goods and services going up every year. So if you look at it in a long period of time, it's about 3 to 4%, the inflation rate in America. So if your money is not growing at least 3 to 4% in wherever it is, then actually the purchasing power of the money is reducing. The value of the money is decreasing. So over time, it's not feasible. You can look at the cost of stamps, for example. You can look at, there are certain indicators you can look at, and you can see inflation, right? So now that is not a great option in terms of the growth. It's a great option for safety. But you're better off putting it under a mattress or in a home safe, which also is very common in our community. I know of friends who was so afraid of riba, of interest, which is important. Interest is haram. It's not something we should dabble in at all. I'm totally very clear on that. But to avoid that, they go the other extreme in putting it in their home safe, keep it at home. So that's safe, but obviously again we have the problem with no growth. The other option is to put in a brokerage account, which is like your 401ks, right? Your mutual funds. You put in an IRA, individual retirement account, a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA, and you get good growth. I mean, last 10 years, people did very well. Maybe the last year, not so much, but in 2008 to 2018 was a booming year for us. It was wonderful. And stocks grew and people did very well. But then good things don't last in the stock market all the time, because the nature of the beast is it's going to go up and come down, go up and come down. So unfortunately, when it comes down, you lose a big chunk of it. And so you have the growth potential, but you don't have the safety. So you compromise on safety and you go for growth, but then it's going to get you at some point, especially if you look at it in the next 20 years, 15 years, you can see retirement coming at you. There's no time to rebound and rebuild. There's not enough time to do that. So the product that we promote is called fixed index annuity. So the word fixed index annuity, let me break it down for you. This is a product, it's an asset class, by the way. So if you have a portfolio, you can put some money in your savings, you can put some money in your stocks. This is considered a legitimate asset class, right? So fixed index annuity, the word fixed means that whatever money you give this company, and you're talking about big multi-billion-dollar companies, the ones that we promote, the ones that we are licensed to help clients with, are companies like Global Atlantic, which is part of Goldman Sachs. So everyone knows Goldman Sachs, right? It's one of our premier financial institutions. So I'm actually appointed by Goldman Sachs to promote their products. We're talking about Athene, which is another big company. I'm going to talk to you in more detail about Athene, because I'm going to show an illustration for you of exactly how the money looks. And big companies like that, these huge multi-billion-dollar companies, and they're the ones to promote this product. So fixed index annuity, the word fixed means whatever money you give this company, they promise you that in a period of time, they'll give it back to you. So there is guaranteed there is no loss in the money. They're going to invest it for you, but they make sure whatever principal, they'll give it back to you, the word fixed. Index means that it's tied to an index. So S&P 500 is our most well-known index, right? S&P 500 is the 500 biggest companies in America based on market capitalization. So you have Apple, Google, Amazon, all those companies on S&P 500, and that's a good indicator of the health of our economy. So S&P 500 is a good example of an index, but you also have these specialized indexes. There's something called the JP Morgan Mosaic 2 Index. To participate in that, you need to have at least invest $100 million. So that's not your average investor, right? $100 million. But because you go through these big companies, we can participate in that index. There's something called the UX, the Franklin Templeton US Index, which is an amazing index. The BNP Paribas International Index. You have all these big indexes that you can participate in. And so your money is part of an index. If the index goes up, you'll gain, they'll credit you the money. Now, the beauty of this is, as you can tell right away, there is no fixed rate of return. So interest riba is a fixed rate of return for a fixed period of time, right? That's the definition of riba. So there is no riba in this product. Now, obviously, when we do sign up for this product, they give you options. They tell you where do you want to allocate how should your allocations be credited, right? How will the money grow? How will your investment grow? So one of the options they actually give you is fixed rate of return. So I don't pick it. I don't advise my clients to pick it, because I know it's wrong, it's haram. But the beauty of it is I'm aware of it. I know what's right and what's wrong, what's good, what's bad for our community. And that's why it's also important that you go through someone like me if you are interested, because I can tell you, do this, don't do that, right? So fixed index and annuity, the word annuity in that whole word fixed index annuity, the whole term, annuity means that it's for a fixed period of time. So you can pick 7 years, 10 years, 3 years, 5 years. The longer you put it, the better the growth is, obviously, because you have the principal and then the accumulated growth. But it's for a period of time, and that's where you keep the money in. Now you're allowed 10% of growth every month, every year, free withdrawal. 10% of the money can be withdrawn every year without penalties. And this is a really good way of structuring your lifetime income as well. So let's say, for example, you're getting like an 8% growth on average, right? It's not fixed rate, but it's 8% growth on average. If you can take 8% every year, right, that's going to be what you plan for in your lifetime income, lifetime. Then what you're doing basically is you're preserving your principal to grow, and you're just taking only the growth. And that's an amazing way of structuring it, and that's how we also structure it for our clients. So you can take your last pot of money that you worked so hard for, you put this money into this account, and you can live off the growth. And so it's a halal growth, it's part of an index, right? But you're always preserving your principal. And the beauty of it is there's no chance of the market going crazy on you, like a 2008 crash like we had, or a 2000 dot-com bubble bursting, and you lose money. That worry is not there. It's the way that where the account is structured. So that's why this is very attractive. So I'm sure you got from what I just told you that it has the safety where if the market fluctuates, you don't lose money, but it also captures amazing growth from these specialized indexes. So you have that, and the income portion is what I was talking to you about. The lifetime income is where you can structure it. So you only benefit from the growth and you preserve your principal. So that's your fixed index annuity. And I'll go into more details about the company, about how the illustrations look like, and all that good stuff. Okay. So 3 places here: safety with the bank, growth with the brokerage, and then safety and growth without compromising either one with the fixed index annuity. So let me go to the next slide. And this is your wonderful stock market here, the S&P 500. And this is very typical. It's a roller coaster, right? And in 2000, when the dot-com bubble burst in 2000, you guys all know, right? People lost a lot of money. And people who were retiring in 2000, they couldn't retire because they just lost, 49% over 2 years. That's terrible. So, excuse me, a lot of people who were going to retire ended up being greeters at Walmart. When you went to Walmart and saw older people working there greeting you, that's because they had to stay employed. There was no, they lost all their retirement money. And the same thing happened in 2008 as well. The market crashed because of the subprime mortgage meltdown, right? And then again, the market crashed. So there are indicators that can tell you when these things are going to happen. The economists use this. So from 2009 onwards, this market has been going gangbusters. It's almost 11 years. We have, beautiful growth. People made a lot of money, but they also assumed that nothing is going to change. And then March came along, and then we had the pandemic, and then we had a crash of 35%. I think people lost like 35% of their money in March and April. So there are indicators that talk about the economists look at. So one of the indicators that's coming up towards the end of 2019 was that 300,000 model 2018 model cars had not been sold. So you can imagine the amount of 300,000 cars had not been sold from 2018 models. So that means basically people were holding on to their money. So they could see some signs of the economy tightening. So they were trying to be more cautious. 90 plus people, 7 million people were 90 plus days late on their auto payment, on their car payments. The Chinese have a very interesting way of looking at the economy and how it can be in trouble. They look at the price of lobster. Can you believe that? The price of lobster. So if you were to go, and it was so funny though, I was in December and January, I was looking at the 99 Ranch Market, a local, Asian chain here, and you could see them slashing the prices of lobster. And so you can tell that, they have too much of inventory. People are not buying lobster, so they had to get rid of it because lobsters can live forever, right? So that's a Chinese way of figuring out that something is going on here. People are becoming more cautious. The economy is in trouble, right? It's interesting. I thought it was pretty cool. So all these indicators were telling us something bad is going to happen, and now they're actually considering that the market is kind of artificially inflated, and it's going to be probably be a recession before it gets better. Now, after people lost, and in March we actually had someone in March who came to our office, and he had like $657,000 in his 401k. And then he was thinking about moving into an FIA to protect the money and then capture the growth once it rebounds. But then he hesitated. A week later, he came back. He had lost $100,000. I'm not exaggerating. And we actually moved his money right away and protected him. But you could see how fast that money lost. There was a money loss. And the beauty of this product, the FIA, the fixed index annuity, is that it's not going to, you're not going to lose out on the rebound. You're going to capture the rebound as well. I just remembered also a story in 2017, no, yeah, 2018, I think, where we did this presentation at the Mission Viejo Masjid. There were about 100 people who showed up, and then that was on a Friday night. All right, Friday. It was actually a youth group meeting. So we had youth, older youth in there, plus the parents. We're talking about basic planning, savings and things like that, making sure you plan for long-term care and all that good stuff. And then we talked about the protecting the 401k. The very next day, Saturday morning, we had a sister in our office who moved her money immediately from a 401k, and she avoided a lot of loss. And I actually sent her a text right after this pandemic broke and the market crashed, and I showed her how much money she had made and how much she could have
So,
lost. So it's
so
an
you can
excellent, yeah.
so you can actually take your retirement funds that you already have and move them into and just move them into a fixed annuity.
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's how it works. I mean, obviously, we are going to each person's situation, unique situation, and see exactly what accounts they have. But in general, that's the theory. You can move the accounts into this. So basically, what you're doing is immediately stopping the bleeding. So it protects it right away. And then you're going to capture the growth. You're not going to lose out on any of the growth. So people are waiting for the rebound, waiting for the boom to happen, right? Once the all the businesses start opening up and we're no longer in quarantine and all that, there is going to be a boom, and you're not going to lose out on that boom. You're going to capture it. So that's why it's a win-win situation in that sense. Absolutely.
Right. Makes more sense. Keep it
Yep,
in
yep,
that.
absolutely. So, and there's another important point here is that let's say people lost money in March and April, and now the market has rebounded a little bit, and they're excited. Oh, I got my money back. You didn't get your money back because what happened is they say $100, right? They were $100, and the market went down 50%. You're at $50, right? Now it's sitting at $50 right now. If the market rebounds 50%, you're not going to go back up to $100. You're at $50. 50% of $50 is $25. So you're going to go up to $75. So to go all the way back up to $100, you got to go up 100%. That's because
Right.
you're in a hole, right? You dug a hole, you're going into the hole. To climb back out, you can't just take one jump. You can take two jumps. So that's how it works. So your $100, 50%, $50, and then you can go back up to $100 unless you have 100% growth. Now take the example of a fixed index annuity. A fixed index annuity is $100. It's sitting on a bed of concrete, on cement, right? If the market goes down 50%, it will not budge. It's sitting right there. When the market rebounds 50%, you're going to go up to $150. So I always tell my clients, you can pick either $75 or $150. What do you prefer, right? And it's pretty obvious. So you want the protection as well as the growth, the safety and the growth. And that's what this product is all about. I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of this product, so I'm hoping this is going to be a good education for you. And the fact that it doesn't have riba interest is even more appealing to us. And again, the fact that it's also done by multi-billion-dollar companies like Goldman Sachs and Athene, and people are worried now. I take 100,000 or 500,000, I move to these accounts. What kind of safety do I have? Because I know I put it in a bank and I have some kind of FDIC insurance or something like that, right? So let me tell you this. In 2008, when the subprime mortgage meltdown happened, right, 387 banks went out of business.
Right.
Right? Small banks, big banks, we heard of Lehman Brothers, we heard of all the SunTrust and all that stuff, right? But can you guys guess how many insurance companies went out of business? Zero. None of them went out of business simply because of the way it's structured. So for one thing, the Department of Insurance heavily regulates this industry. So for every dollar they have out, they have to have a dollar in reserve. Some of the insurance companies are so huge that they have, for every dollar out, they have $4 in reserve. Companies like ING and Voya, right? They're trillion-dollar companies. Athene and Goldman Sachs, I mean, the global account, they have at least $1 or more
And
out.
banks don't have this.
But banks don't have this, exactly. And they have a limit, right, to how much they cover in terms of the FDIC protection. So it's not all your money. Exactly, exactly. So that's another reason why the insurance companies are very a safe investment. Banks have $12 trillion of our money sitting in their accounts. But guess where they put it? They put the money in insurance companies. That's what they do. They invest the money in insurance companies because it's a safe investment. and they get good growth. If you hear about lottery winners, you talk about even football, NFL football coaches, they all get annuities as part of their payment package because it's a safe investment plus it's excellent growth. So I believe the Falcons, I'm sorry, the Ravens, either Ravens or the 49ers coach, I forget who it was. They're both brothers, by the way, the Harbaugh brothers. One of them got, you can Google this, he got an annuity as part of his package. It's very appealing. And lottery winners are paid out as an annuity. There's so many different things in which the annuity is used, but it's not come to mainstream. It's not come to the middle class. You know, the wealthy, they have all these advisors. We don't know about this, but now it's accessible to us and we can protect our money this way. There's another slide here which illustrates the point even further, right? The greens are when the market was up. These are over the last 66 years, guys, of the S&P 500. 66 years of the S&P 500, the greens are up, reds are down. If I was to ask you which color would you rather not have in your portfolio, it's obvious,
Red.
right? You don't want the reds, exactly. So with the FIA, you only participate in the greens. With the fixed index annuity, all greens, no reds. So that's
Can I
another,
ask a
of
on
course.
how they insulate against the losses because they have the backup, they have, you were,
Right. Yeah, you want to know what the magic is, right? How the
yeah,
magician behind the curtain, right? How is it done? Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
question, Safur. And I'm sure a lot of people watching also wondering how the heck are they doing this, right? So the way they're doing this is basically what they do with your money is they don't actually actively invest it in the account, in the index. They
mhm,
actually credit your account based on the index.
okay,
So what that means basically is since they're not participating, even if the market crashes, nothing happens to that money, but they're able to credit it if the market is up. But they do invest it in their own, their conglomerates, they have their own investments. But we focus on how we get our return, right? Our return comes from these indexes, whatever indexes we pick, and all the specialized indexes. So this is basically your FIA, your fixed index annuity. I want to go into more details now about exactly how the money looks when you invest it, right? I'm going to go into a little more detail here. So I'm going to switch screens here for a minute. I'm going to leave my full screen here. Feel free to ask me questions for what I've covered so far.
so also, so if anybody comes into, like, they sell a home and they get a big amount of money, or they can take their retirement funds that they already have accumulated or any of this and put this into an FIA in which they will receive growth, and then they will be distributed throughout their retirement years.
You can structure it like that, or they can just take a lump sum as well and invest it somewhere else after the annuity is done. So there's no, you can do it either way. So whatever way they want to do it, we can structure it.
They
That's
have
ideal.
access,
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
they have access to the funds as well. Like, it's not
Absolutely,
complete.
absolutely. So for the first 7 years or 3 years or 5 years, whatever that time is, they don't have access to the entire amount. It's only accessible to the first the 10% for the free withdrawal every of 10% every year. But after that period of time, 3, 5, 7 years is done, then you got the entire money. You can take the entire money. So whatever money you move it from. So for example, if it's a cash that you're moving into this, there's no restrictions. But if you're moving from a 401k or IRA or something like that has restrictions, like you have to be 59 years old, 59 and a half years old in order to withdraw, then it follows the same rules in the annuity as well. So if you do withdraw it before that time, you have to pay penalties. But these are all unique situations. We can go into detail with the client and see where they're at. Obviously, it all depends on what their situation is.
Right. Okay.
So you guys can see a theme right now, right? I just want to give a quick glimpse of a theme before I go into illustrations. So they're A-rated. They have $146 billion in assets. And they're listed on the New York Stock Exchange. They're number 2 carrier of fixed index annuities. Global Atlantic is number 1. But right now, Athene has a very excellent product that I wanted to show the illustration for. So I wanted to cover that. And you can see the ratings here. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If you want to read more, let me know. But basically, the financial strength ratings, you can see you have AM Best, S&P, and Fitch. They are the big rating agencies. They all rate them as A. And you can see that again, the assets are $146 billion. So this is just a quick touch to show you guys that this is not a small company we're dealing with here. There are 48,000 people who work, there are 1,300 employees. It's a big company. So let me go into the illustration itself, and please stop me anytime you want to read more or if you have any questions. All right. So here's here are the illustrations for Athene's. This product is called the Performance Elite. 7 is a 7-year annuity. So you can put your money in, and after 7 years, you can withdraw it with no penalties, as long as you're 59, if you're not 59 and a half years old, depending on where the money is coming from. So here, for example, they look at the most recent 10 years. They're giving you some examples of investment. So the most recent 10 years is the first chart right here on the leftmost side, most recent 10 years. The middle is the highest, and the right-hand side is the lowest. So if you look at the last 10 years, the most recent 10 years, which is the last 10 years, so from 2009 to 2019 is what they're showing you right here. You put $100,000 in 2009, right? And based on this product, you would have got $240,000 back. Even though we went through the March and April fluctuations, anything that went on during this time, right? You still you did very well. And some of you are saying, you know what, I did much better with my 401k, or I did much better with my IRA, or different investment, some kind of investment that you did. But here's the thing though, in March and April, you lost money. And also, if you were in the 2008 or 2000 bubble, and when the 2000.com bubble bursting, or even a 2008 market collapse, you would have lost money. Even though you had great growth, you'd have lost money. So this is meant to be a way to protect your assets, but still get excellent growth. It is ideal not for the 25-year-olds, but for the late 40s and 50s and 60-year-olds. I've helped people who are even 65 and 66 years old who want to protect their retirement money and then get some withdrawal as well. So this is something for the older people who don't want to wait, who don't want to lose their last pot of money, their last retirement account. So here you have $100,000, your money is going to $240,000, which is amazing, right? So the growth is like 11.27%. There is a charge of 2% that they charge you, so your effective rate is about 8.66%. The highest it has ever done is between 2008 and 2018, and that is if you put $100,000, you made it $280,000. Now remember this: you're not put any extra money into this account. You just put that 100,000, you rolled over $100,000, and it grew, and you didn't have to worry about it. So for most of us, we are not active investors. We don't get up every morning, check our portfolio, make adjustments, right? We also don't like to pay fees to these fund managers to maintain accounts. We'd rather take all that money for ourselves. So here, if you get a growth, they will give you, they will take a percentage of it only for this product. They do have products that are no fee related. They don't give you as well a return, but this is totally a worthwhile fee to pay if you wanted this product. But they have products that don't have no fees as well. And I can show you guys that if that's important. So this is the highest rate, maybe 280. Now the lowest rate is very important. I want you guys to focus on this. In 2006, you put $100,000. In 2016, you had $196,000. Now this is impossible, and I'm being very bold here by saying it is impossible to get this kind of growth with any other product. You know why? Because in 2008, something happened to the market, right? The market collapsed because of the subprime mortgage meltdown. Then people lost 40% of their money, right? And this is not something that's an anomaly, it's going to happen. It's just about not a matter of if, but when it's going to happen. And that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of our stock market. It goes up, it comes down, goes up, comes down. You guys saw the chart, right? The greens and the reds. So I usually ask this question from people who are getting close to retirement. You're 15 years away, 20 years away, 10 years away. I tell them, let's say you have $200,000 in your account of, 200, let's pick a number, $200,000, right? In your 401k. And I hope most of you have more than that, but 200,000 is a good example. Are you okay losing 40% of that money? Let's say you get to 65 years old, 63, 60 years old, and suddenly there is this event that happens, whatever it is, right? And 40% of the money is gone. So 40% of 200,000 is $40,000, right? I'm sorry, it's $80,000. So $80,000 is gone. So you're down from 200,000 to $120,000. Are you okay with that? I always ask them, and they're like, no way, They're not even okay losing 20% of it, which is like $40,000, because it's a big chunk of money, right? That could be their annual, income that they were going to get. So it's a huge amount of money that you're going to lose just on a simple market downturn. And this is what this product does, is protects it from that. That's the number one reason. It protects it from that. And then immediately after that, it also gives you excellent growth, like you can see. So you see here $100,000, you went through the market fluctuations of 2008, and you still came out almost doubling your money. This is unheard of, by the way. And I'm sure those of you who are investors here would agree with me on this.
Right, especially I think in our community, right? Muslim community, everyone stays away from a lot of these products out of concern, of interest, in things. But these are tools that can actually really help them in their future retirement situations. And
Absolutely. That's so true, Sephora. That's so true. And so I'm showing them of a place that they can put money in, where they don't have to worry about the halal haram problem, because obviously, mashallah, there is no interest here. But also the fact that there's peace of mind as well, right? Because you don't have to worry also of these market fluctuations. Will I lose my money and things like that? So if you go to the next slide here, which is interesting. Next page, let me just go to the next page here. I want to try something else here. Okay, go. Oh, here we go. Sorry about this, guys. Just getting this in here. Here we go. All right. So this is very interesting for me, because let's say you're age 50, right? You put $100,000 in, and that's the only amount of money you put into this. If the market performed like it did in the last 10 years, that 100,000 at age 65 has now become 388,000. All right. Yeah, $388,000. That's pretty cool, right? You didn't put a single penny after that. You just rolled over 100,000. Now, obviously, this is based hypothetical illustration based on how the market did in the last 10 years. But still, even if you get even a little bit less than that, you're still going to be good. And there's no saying that you won't get more than this as well, because this particular account has no cap. So they won't stop you at 11%. They won't stop you at 15%. You can go as much as 30% if you want. There's no restrictions. So there's no cap to this. So at age 65, your money is now at $388,000. And all you did was put in $100,000 into this account. So that's the beauty of this product. It just sits there and it grows and accumulates. And there in the word, you can see the word assumed interest rate. So don't freak out about that. The word interest here really means rate of return, because the riba interest is when there's a fixed rate of return. We're talking about an average rate of return based on the market fluctuation. Let me actually also touch on the 500,000. For those of us who want to invest more, you can actually do 500,000. Let's see how that looks out, how that shakes out. It's pretty cool as well. So here you can see you put $500,000 in the last 10 years, then money would have grown to, and then in the last 10 years, they've grown to $1.2 million just by investing $500,000. In the lowest 10 years, in the last category, last chart at the very corner there, put $500,000. That money grew to $982,000 Remember, you went through 2008, right? You went from 2006 to 2016. You went through the bad periods and still came out pretty well off, right? You almost doubled your money and you're still making good money there. So that's amazing there. And you can see if you put $500,000 at the age 50, at age 65, you almost have $2 million. You guys can see that in 2036. Yeah. So that's how this product goes. I mean, obviously, it's hypothetical. It can be better than this. It can be a little bit less than this. But the beauty of it is, if there's any events that come along, you are protected because you don't fluctuate. It does market downturn. You're protected from market downturn. So you get the
And then
safety
you
plus the growth. Yeah.
plan,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
you plan for some, inflation and changes in the future.
Sorry, I didn't hear that, Sephora. Go ahead, please.
No, you can actually plan for some inflation or changes in future, like
Exactly. That's right. And also the fact that you don't have to worry about the money just staying stagnant in a bank account or in a safe at home. You have at least getting some excellent growth here as well. So that's why it's also very appealing, especially to our community.
it's a great option, to present to our community that may not know these things,
Absolutely.
and to all, please also let your family, friends know about these products that Brother Iftikhar is presenting as well.
Absolutely. Our office in the last 4 years, we've done almost $14 million in moving money to these accounts. These are all, well-to-do individuals or even just middle-class individuals. We focus on meeting each person, understanding their unique situations, and then obviously we'll make sure that we advise you the right way. Then you're better informed, and you can then make a decision on how you want to protect your funds.
And then do you have your contact information?
I can put it on the chat if you like. Let me do that. Let me stop the share.
I see Dr. Sana has a hand up.
That's a good question, Dr. Sana. Yeah, usually there is, right? Usually there is some kind of impact. It's hard to say. I wish we knew which way it's gonna go, but there usually is. Should we get ready acutely? You gotta translate that for me. I'm sorry. I know you're a doctor, and I'm not sure what acutely means there. Sorry. Um, I think though, if you ask me personally, what I think of what's happening in the market right now, I think it's artificially inflated, and that's not just me talking. It's about me reading other economists. I mean, I'm reading economists' opinions. It has been artificially inflated. It doesn't make any sense when you have 42 million people in the workforce right now who are out of work. Unemployment. You have a pandemic. You have quarantine. You have restaurants that are closed. There's a lot of stuff going on. And so what's happening is the market, the way it is, does not make any sense at all. If you ask anyone, it does not make any sense. It's artificially inflated. So something has to give, and so most likely what people are expecting is it's going to give after the election. So yes, to answer your question, Dr. Sana, it's not a great place to be in the market right now. You should be out, and just write this out until things settled in. If you're somebody who saw value in the presentation I just did, it's a great place to write out the market in a FIA, in a fixed index annuity, where you can also make sure that you have the growth, as well as you can also do short-term or long-term annuities. That way you don't lose out on any rebounds that come after. That's my opinion, and that's what I would advise you. Taimur, you had a question about the minimum. So most companies, I believe, a teen, I think, is 25,000. They may have a $10,000 option, but yeah, as low as $10,000 is typically what you can do for FIA. Obviously, the more you can invest, the better the growth would be. The principal is greater. Gabe has a good question here. He says, "Bubble's gonna burst." That's not. That's that's not a. It's hard to say, but a lot of people are saying that there is a recession coming because of the fact that it's artificially inflated. And I like Dr. Sana's comment there. Should we move to Turkey? Yeah, once they sort out that whole mess with France, I think might be a good place to go to. Turkey. If you guys watch Ertugrul, and if you guys watch Ertugrul, I love Ertugrul. And Usman, yeah, and Usman too, but Usman not so much. Ertugrul, obviously, he's a stud, right? And that was really cool. That show was really cool. So yeah, Turkey is very appealing, and I'm sure modern day Turkey looks very cool. That's really funny. So yeah, I mean that's what a lot of people are saying. Yeah, that it's really artificially inflated right now, and things will get worse before it gets better. That's the common feeling I'm getting when I read up on all these economists out there.
It's wonderful to be educated on all the tools that are out there and all the options. We have the option to keep our money in a bank where it will remain pretty stagnant and potential loss due to inflation. And then there's also these options which allow us to grow our money in a way that protects us from losses. And so it's just good to know the options, and then we can make our decisions based on
absolutely,
that.
Absolutely. And it's always depends on the person's unique situation. So it takes like a 30-minute Zoom presentation or an office visit where we can just sit and just understand each person's unique situation, and then we can easily advise them accordingly. So and we'll make sure that you're very informed, and you can then make an informed decision on what you want to do. I'm going to put my information here for those of you who want to reach out to me. I'll put my phone number, and feel free to reach out to Hani or Safura as well. They know how to get a hold of me. Just the panelists, is there a way to send it to everyone? To all panelists. Okay, there. So feel free to ask me any more questions, or if somebody asks me this. When there's greed on the street, be fearful. When there's fear on the streets, be greedy. Oh yeah. Warren Buffett, absolutely.
So yes, thank you for the okay, so there's a phone up there, and no, you cannot have that.
Yeah, I'm sure he has your phone number from what I've heard.
Okay, so thank you, Brother Iftikhar, again for a great, very informative session, same as last weekend. And if anyone wants to view the video from last weekend, we have it on cornerstonelawservices.com. And next week, we will be starting to discuss children and the impact of COVID on children. And so tune in for that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Safura, for organizing this. Thank you, everyone. Assalamu alaikum.
Every time you feel like you cannot go on, you feel so lost and that you're so alone. All you see is night and darkness all around. You feel so helpless, you can't see which way to go. Don't despair and never lose hope, 'cause Allah is always by your side. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Insha'Allah, 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 you'll find your way. Every time you commit one more mistake, you feel you can't repent. decisions you have made haunt your mind, and your heart is full of shame. But don't despair and never lose hope, 'cause Allah is always by your side. Inshallah, 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 you'll find your way. Inshallah, 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 you'll find your way. Turn to Allah, He's never far away. Put your trust in Him, raise your hands and pray. Ooh, yeah, Allah, guide my steps, don't let me go astray. You're the